Hello, friends, and welcome to an all-new Snap Judgments on this, the 18th episode of Marvel Snap Zone's official podcast. I am Roy Rogers, and as always, I am joined by my friend and yours, Aaron Glazer. Aaron, my friend, happy Spooky Month. I know you are a massively passionate proponent of Spooky Month and these spooky times, and so I hope you are really enjoying everyone who enjoys spooky things. Spookiest time of the year.
Spooky month is next November. It is currently right now it is fake summer in New York. It's that time of year where like it was fall for 2 straight weeks and now all of a sudden it's 75 degrees and perfect again.
I wouldn't call that perfect, but I'm looking forward to when it gets down to 62 degrees here, my friend, more than anything in the world, because I'm just want hoodie weather. It makes dressing for work so much easier. Anyway, that is our weekly discussion of the weather here in the Mid-Atlantic of the United States, which means it's time for me to turn it over to you, my friend. Who is kicking off the spooky season with us this year?
We have one of my new favorite Marvel Snap streamers. I just started hanging out in his chat and I'm like addicted. I've been there every night since. We've got Prashaun. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Prashaun here, Prashaun. You could type that in the YouTubes and I should pop up. As well as Twitch. I've been twitching recently. After SnapCon, I realized almost everyone there is a Twitcher. So they converted me. So I've been twitching a lot. It's been fun. I've gone from like 13 like followers talking to myself to 250 in the past month.
Nice.
So it's been great. YouTube's grown. I think SnapCon was like the best thing that pretty much happened to me. As far as the Snap world, met a lot of cool people. The community has been great, and I'm happy to be here.
Did you meet that jerk guest?
Yes, he's strangely tall, very tall.
That's what I was getting at. That's what I was going for. He's like 6'8", and it blew my mind when
If Groot is a person, that would be Guest.
Yeah, Guest is not a jerk. Guest is amazing and has a new thing. If you should check out Guest's new thing. I had to figure out where I was going to throw in Guest's new thing this episode, so make sure you check out It's Guest Gaming on Twitter and his new thing. He'll be on this podcast relatively soon.
Yeah, shout out
Our other guest today is the voice of the people of Marvel Snap on the Elon Musk app? ? Stars. It is our most demanded guest. Not Ben Brode, not Glenn, not Lambie, not KM. Our most demanded guest. It is Interrobang. How you doing, bud?
Am I really the most demanded guest?
You are?
That's amazing. Yeah, awesome. Really happy to be here. I also just started streaming. I just hit affiliate on Twitch.
Hey, congrats.
I just got into the Snap creator program, which is really, really exciting. Thought I probably would have been banned from that for life, but somehow I got in. And yeah, I'm the scourge of Twitter. So if I'm talking about anything, it's on behalf of you guys, and it's for the snappers. So yeah, super excited to be on.
Interrobang, just real quick, for our loyal listeners out
Yes.
there, where on Elon Musk's hell site can they find you?
Yeah, ironic, right? I'm the voice of the people on that terrible thing. But you can find me at Twitter and Twitch /Interrobang, INTERROBANG with an E on the end. So Interrobang with an E on the end.
I will
until I can get my real name.
I feel you. Prashaun, you win an award at Snap Judgments for being the only person in the history of the show to just actually say like your Twitch handle without any sort of prodding, including like some luminaries such as KM Best and Bootman, who all did require at least some like prodding to do it. All right. Awesome. So with our friends here joining us to talk about the awesome season. But before we can do that, I have to remind you where you can engage with us, which is, of course, we are also on Elon Musk's hell site, Twitter, X, whatever letter he changes it to, depending on his whim.
Twix.
But Twix. Our sort of handle there is at SnapJudgeCast. We are, of course, and very importantly, the Marvel Snap Zone official podcasting partner, which means we are on the Marvel Snap Zone Discord, which is the best large Discord in all of Marvel Snap. So please click the link in either the description of this episode on YouTube or the description of the episode on your friendly neighborhood podcatcher. Join the Discord, engage with Aaron, engage with the awesome community there, and we are always excited to see you engage with us and Marvel Snap Zone on their awesome Discord. We are available. Somehow our email has not been brought down by the huge amount of kick spam that Glazer's brief flirtation with that platform inflicted upon us, making it very useless for me as an email thing, but it is still there. And our email is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We're also on your favorite extinct animal alternative to the hell site owned by everyone's least favorite billionaire. At least he's a billionaire for now. That is Mastodon. And our handle there is Snap Judgments with an E at tabletop.vip. Last, but definitely not least, most importantly to my heart and Glazers, is our YouTube channel. You found this episode either on your friendly neighborhood podcatcher or on the Marvel Snap Zone YouTube. But you should go and check out our YouTube at Snap Judgments Pod for daily Snap takes from Aaron every single weekday, and some weekends Aaron is on there grinding away. My friend, what could our loyal listeners, should they choose to become our loyal viewers, get if they listen to or watch an episode on the show's podcast right now? Excuse me, YouTube right now.
Yeah, it's cool. People keep calling me a podcaster even when I'm doing the YouTube videos, and I'm like, that's me alone, right? It's not a podcast anymore. Whatever. On the site, I do 2 brand new decks every weekday, decks that are proven, decks that can help you win in Snap. I steal them from lovely people like Interrobang and Prashaun and give them credit, unlike some people, and hopefully help grow the community and make everyone talk to each other about all the cool things that is happening. Is happening, are happening, are happening.
Awesome. All right. As I tell my students, in order to move forward, we have to look back. And that means we need to look back at the past seasons. We have had 3 seasons over the course of this last sort of summer season, as summer is officially over here in North America. We had the rise of the Phoenix season, we had the Big in Japan season, and we just thankfully escaped the Loki for all seasons. My friends, starting with you, Prashaun, what have been your thoughts of the kind of last 3 months as Marvel Snap moves to its inevitable 1-year global launch anniversary? How have you felt about the last couple of seasons?
So if you look at rise of Phoenix and Big in Japan, even the Loki season, there's cards that were a big whiff. We're looking back at Echo. We thought Echo was going to be good. We thought Phoenix Force was going to be good. And then there's cards that surprised us, right? So Legion was definitely a surprise. Mirage is a card that we ended up using a lot later, and Loki. So it's there's a bunch of cards that were good, surprisingly good, but the cards that we thought were supposed to be good were surprisingly bad. And then they even had to rework. So they had to rework Phoenix Force, Lady Deathstrike, and then hopefully Ravonna soon. Hopefully she gets reworked. So overall, it's been a bunch of decent cards. I think the best season so far out of these seasons is the Loki season, because it gave us Loki and Alioth and Mobius. So Mobius is basically the Luke Cage of card cost. So basically that's how I feel of the past season. So they've been okay, but I'm looking forward to what's happening next for sure.
Intero?
Yeah, I think I could agree with all that. I think for me personally, there were some whiffs, and I think overall, I think we're boiling down to a era of the game where a card either has to be severely broken to be used, or it just falls by the wayside completely. And I guess that's not true recently because a Phoenix Force list just started taking Twitter by storm. I forgot who posted it, but now it seems like every other match that I play is against like the Phoenix Force deck.
That was my
Um,
deck.
it was glitchy.
It really was. Like, it's one of my very few homebrews. No one paid attention to it outside of my Discord. I got an infinity border with it, and then like a month later, someone on
Amazing.
Cam's Discord started playing it. Doesn't know who I am. I don't know if he just brewed the same damn thing or found it, but like, or found it like on the deck trackers. But then all of a sudden, everyone's talking about it. I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, I'm not. I'm not at liberty to talk about deck credit. The last time I did that, I got lambasted. But I will say that I've been wanting to try that deck, but I don't have Ghost Spider, so I'm like waiting to like really pour my heart into it until I get that card. But I think to Prashaun's point, like, and when you say we all thought, I definitely did not think Echo was going to be good.
I didn't either.
I just think a lot of these cards have like interesting abilities, right? And I'm a big proponent of each Marvel Snap card should feel different. And to that point, I think Jeff, just as an example, I think Jeff shouldn't be able to move. I think Nightcrawler's ability is he can move once, and Vision is different from Nightcrawler because he can move all the time. So I think it's really, you know, if Jeff's ability was just you can play Jeff into unplayable locations, I think that would be a really cool ability for Jeff. But you know, the second dinner or the Marvel Snap team is like, is this good enough? Let's slap something else onto it. Or, you know, is this good enough? Let's slap some extra stats onto it. And it's because I feel like we're getting to a boiling point where unless something is like overpowered, they're scared people won't play it. And I think Glenn recently just said, someone asked him like, why are we like dancing around nerfing Loki? Why are we like nerfing everything around Loki? And he's like, well, it's the Loki season, right? So we want him to be strong so people play him, because if it was the Loki season and no one was playing Loki, it would feel kind of weird. And I think maybe as he said that, he thought it was a good answer, but I feel like that's like a really terrible answer to be like, we made sure that this card was like overpowered or super strong in a sense so people would play him. And I don't think that is an interesting way to go about creating cards. And you can just see, you know, like Lady Deathstrike, you know, they buffed her a little bit, but she's still like nowhere to be seen. And Phoenix Force, you know, had a sort of a resurgence, but is she actually good, or is the deck good? You know, does she just work in the deck?
Mm-hmm.
And I really love Mirage. For a long time, once I got Mirage, I stuck her in like everything. But is she a good card? You know, like I don't know. She's good in Loki, but other than that, she's kind of like a weird Cable spinoff. And well, not anymore because he just got changed. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on it, right? Like I want to go back to where every card had like a unique and wacky ability rather than like, let's make sure it's like a 4/6 and then people will play it, right?
I've got so many thoughts about that. All right,
Yeah.
let's. I want to start with okay. Let's not talk about DCs in particular, but the whole unless it's broken, people won't play it is the dumbest thing about Marvel Snap, and I love this game and its community, right? But unless you're in a tournament, I got an Infinity Border with a Jean Grey High Evolutionary Silver Surfer deck. I got an Infinity Border with the Phoenix Force. Like people are hitting high infinite and top X with Silver Samurai. Like you don't have to play meta cards, folks. Like the meta is important, right? Like you have to know what you're playing against. There's stuff you can't play because of the meta. Like when Spider-Ham was everywhere, you weren't going to win with this card. Fine, right? But like you can win with a lot, like capital L, capital O, capital T, lot of stuff. I now refuse to play Conquest with a meta deck. I refuse to hit Infinite with a meta deck. As soon as I hit 90, I'm like, all right, what's interesting that I can play for the next bit to see if I hit Infinite with? And then, like, you can find something hot. Like, the lack of creativity, and, like, that's why I share, or part of why I share so many different decks on the YouTube, right? Because, like, you don't just have to play the same stuff at all, like in Snap. The game is, like, very skill intensive.
Right.
Someone asked Lambie in his chat, like, is Snap the most solved game since poker? And he was like, solved is the wrong word, but it's skill intensive. If you know what you're doing and play well, it matters so much more than your deck.
I think there's, so just to piggyback off that really quick, I think there's like, listen, there's probably like 100 types of players, right? But to me, I think there's like 3 types of players. I think one of those types of players are us 4, where we play this game in super giant air quotes for a living. And then there's like and then 2 below that, the third type of player is the super casual player who either plays when they're in the bathroom because it's a quick game, or they really like, Jean Grey, and Jean Grey's in the game. They're like, oh, sweet, Jean Grey's in this game, I'm going to play it. But then there's that middle player where I don't know if it's a lack of creativity, but they don't know how to build a deck. It doesn't matter how small the deck is. It could be 12 cards, it could be 3 cards. They don't know how to build a deck. So they go online, they look at what's strong, and then they play. And it's not because they're not creative. It's because, they're scared, right? They're scared to waste their time and not climb or not win or not have fun. So they're just like, what's strong, and let me play it. And that may not be a lack of creativity. It may just be what we were talking about before, right? Like, what are the strong cards? Throw them in a deck, and I'll play it, and maybe I'll win. And they're either a good pilot of the deck, or the deck is strong enough that it might carry them. And I think that's what they're hoping for.
So Oh, sorry, go Prashaun.
Oh, I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome in Marvel Snap.
Yeah,
so like, if you're a
In
new
all
player,
kinds
if you want to play, you're gonna Google or look up what's the best deck. Like, even in my algorithm, if I put best in any YouTube video, it goes off the roof. It goes off the charts, even though I don't want to do that. But that's what people are looking up and Googling. And then even when
Sure.
I play on Twitch, like if I mess around and I try to play like a random like ramp deck, they're like, oh, you have to have this card in here. You have to play this turn. You have to play that turn. I'm like, no, everyone's brains thinks differently. Everyone interprets cards differently. Everyone wants to play the way they want to play. And it's unfortunate. There's like not certain people, but it's unfortunate that certain decks get played way too much, or a certain percentage of cards in Marvel Snap get played way too much just because a few people want to play the best deck at a certain time.
What's wild to me about it is, I mean, Cozy tries to make meta decks reasonably often, but like the next biggest creator is Dex, right? And Dex plays some weird shit. You would
he never tries.
Right. You would think that like because Dex is so big and he's playing so much weird shit, there would just be more of that around. And that doesn't seem to exist always kind of boggles my mind. Like, you really enjoy this. You recognize that you can with it, you recognize that it's fun because everyone watches Dex. And it's just like you get it. You're almost there. And like, I'm not trying to shit on people. Again, like, do what is fun for you. If like going like, rawr, I must win, I must play meta deck is what's fun for you, that's cool. But then like, also don't complain about that, right? Because like, at the end of the day, that's your choice, and I think that's important, right? You can do other things. I have one other thing I want to say. So the Rise of the Phoenix season and Big in Japan season were huge misses. Huge misses. Gigantic misses. I love Phoenix Force. It did not affect the meta. Jean Grey is extremely underrated. Did not affect the meta. Echo doesn't get played. Mirage gets played and then got cut from Loki decks. And Legion went in meta decks, but he became a good stuff card. He didn't change the decks. He just went in good decks.
Legion is unbelievably good. Legion is a crazy good
One of the
card.
10 best cards in Snap, arguably, but didn't change the meta.
I do.
I think
yeah, I guess I think you're right when you say he just became one of the good card package cards, but he does kind of like Eliath. He's slotted into almost every deck. Every deck found something to drop to put him in. And even to this day, like sometimes I'll be playing a random deck that shouldn't be playing Legion, and then boom, they drop Legion on Luke's bar, and I'm like, well, I couldn't play around that, like I couldn't do anything. But then also, I am a big X-23 fan. I think Destroy is sort of like the deck everyone looks at the keyword and tries to build it themselves first. But X-23 is sort of a higher end. Like, if you can make X-23 work, if you throw like a Hulkbuster on her or something, it can get really interesting. So I really like X-23. And before Galactus was slaughtered, I had a really cool deck where Galactus and X-23 were in there.
So, but either way, like you compare X-23 at her best to Loki, Alioth, and Mobius, right?
Yeah,
And then
and
and the season before was freaking Ghost Spider, and then like one of the best
Yeah.
other cards was Silk, and it took us 3 months to figure out how to use Silk right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they had what amounts to 3 straight seasons of largely misses. 95% of the cards they released did not matter. And like
was Ghost Spider the season pass
Yep.
card?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Spider Glen was,
so
yeah.
95% of the cards they released for 3 straight months were nothing burgers, right?
So-
So this is like Loki season, and we'll talk about this as we go through the episode. Loki season is a massive overcorrection. They said, "Oh yeah, new cards aren't affecting the meta," and then everyone was like, "I don't want new cards to affect the meta." No, we just don't want new cards to be completely broken. It's an overcorrection, right? Is that going to go forward, or are we going to go back to useless cards? Because I don't want there to be useless cards either.
I don't want to. Sorry,
Sure.
I have so many thoughts. I want to keep talking. I'll let you take this one, Prashaun. But I do want to say I would rather every season pass card be Ghost Spider than be Loki. And I don't think that's to say she's useless, but I think it goes to the point before where I was saying I rather them find a unique ability and slap it on a card that makes sense lore wise or makes sense mechanic wise, and not everyone feel compelled to need that card or buy the season pass that month to be competitive or feel like they're not going to lose every other game.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like deck building, I think there's many archetypes that are missing certain cards. Like a few seasons ago, I had a copycat deck, and I had Absorbing Man, and as soon as Loki came out, I dropped Absorbing Man and put Loki into the copycat deck, and it worked. So I think going forward, they should create cards that synergize with some of the cards that aren't used as much. Maybe they will get more play in the future. We'll see. Because when it comes to deck building, it's like a big puzzle that you're trying to figure out, and maybe that deck is missing a certain piece that hasn't came out yet. So let's see what they have in the future. I think they have whiffed, and then they tried to redo Lady Deathstrike, and it didn't work. I think the only card
Strike 2.
Yeah, the only card I really play a lot is probably X-23. But since Galactus is dead, the deck that I made like last month is useless because I can't even play Galactus anymore. So it's like, what are you going to play X-23 with now?
I mean,
and to your point, Glazer, about useless cards, I think if the season pass card is wacky or cool, like I think MODOK is awesome. MODOK, when he first came out, discard still wasn't like way too strong, so it was just like MODOK discards your hand. Like, what the hell? Like, how are we going to make this work? So I think like if a season pass card is like interesting, and then the 3 other cards of the month aren't necessarily quote unquote useless, I think that's a good month. But I think to your point, where you were saying like Phoenix Force and Ghost Spider, all the other cards were useless too. So it was just like a whole month of like no one caring about the 4 cards that came out that month.
Yeah, all right. I feel like that basically covers this.
I guess maybe not, because I strongly disagree with the Interrobang because about season pass cards. Because actually, to me, season pass cards are where they should take the big swing, because they are the card that anyone can get access to, no matter how much they play the game. Right, by spending that $9.99, you can just get that card. And like, they seem to be viewing each month as basically a mini set. There's 4 to 5 cards, and they only have so many points of like where to put the power. And I think taking the big swings in the card that you are thematically building around makes a lot of sense to me. Like it just really does. And I get that Loki is frustrating, and Loki might not be a good baseline, and Zabu might not be a good baseline, but maybe what's her name, Nebula, is somewhere to like think about. Like, that's a powerful card that people wanted but didn't like super dominate the meta. Like, there's clearly been misses, but I think season pass cards to me feel like the safest place to put points, because it's the flashiest card that's screaming at everyone's face, and anyone can do it, and they need to make money. And I think it's like a more transparent way of taking your money versus the spotlight system, which I feel like is a very untransparent way of taking your money. And I personally, again, think that that's a great place to put your points, and then take like more underhanded swings in some of these, like particularly if they're all going to be season 5 cards, like take underhanded swings that could be weird archetypes or other kinds of things. Like I think you should put the power in the most accessible cards, and then take the sort of new innovative design space to the less accessible cards. But
So it's worth noting that, like, I don't think the problem is that Loki was good. The problem was that Loki was completely insanely great, right? So, but I don't think that they shouldn't release insanely great cards as season pass cards. I think they should do their best to avoid insanely great cards, because I think Alioth and Mobius are every bit the problem Loki is.
Mhm.
Like I think that, like, there has to be an area between releasing completely busted cards and releasing completely useless cards, and I feel like they usually hit that reasonably well. Like, it's worth knowing that the game's about to be out for a year, and there have been 3 broken season pass cards, right? 2 back to back,
and two of them went unchecked for way
month
too
and a half,
long.
because Surfer the first month was not broken.
Yeah,
Because Surfer the first month was Leech Leader, right? So, like, Surfer the first month was not broken. Zabu lasted a month and a half. Surfer lasted 2.5 months. Like, and the only reason that Surfer lasted that long is the first month he wasn't broken. He just wasn't. Like, and then Loki doesn't feel broken anymore. He's still really good, but, like, I don't know. Like, the meta has caught up because they released 18 other busted cards.
Yeah, I think there is, I guess they set a precedent about nerfing around Loki, right? Or nerfing and buffing around Loki to affect the bottom line of Loki. But that isn't to say, like, that's what they should have done, I guess, is what I'm getting
that's
at.
just a precedent that they're following from Galactus and Thanos, right? They nerfed around both Thanos and Galactus well before they like reworked either of those cards. Like, it just, and that's notoriously what these card designers do, right? Like in many other card games, like they will particularly, like if you played Magic or any of these other cards, they'll ban around the splashy card that is, selling sets, right? And right now, Loki, or until a few days ago, Loki was selling sets. I'm putting scare quotes because they don't do that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's also worth remembering, and, like, this is for our listeners because I'm sure you guys know this, but the season pass is by any metric unbelievable value. Even when the season pass card is bad, the season pass card, like gotcha mechanics for spotlight caches and everything else, the season pass is completely absurd value.
It's the best money you can
Oh, yeah,
spend.
for sure.
It's the best money you can spend in almost any game based on what I've been told of the math. We've got someone hanging out in our Discord right now who's built, like, a spreadsheet for if you buy the season pass and do X, here's how you stay complete, and, like, how long it'll take. And, like, the season pass is like $60 of surplus value on top of getting everything. And it's just like, what? Like, the season pass is crazy good value.
And I typically get to like 127 every season
Jeez.
on my levels. So I definitely get mine, then some.
What is up, everyone? This is Brad, otherwise known as Bradsifer, your friendly neighborhood editor here at Snap Judgments. Unfortunately, Glazer as well as Intero's audio was not correctly saved and recorded for this next segment when they talk about Elsa, which I know is unfortunate, but rather than have you guys hear Prashaun mostly talk to just himself for the next 10 minutes, we figured it'd be best to just cut that segment entirely. We apologize for that unfortunate circumstance, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the episode.
all right, let's move on to talking about Nico. All right, my girl here is a 1 cost, 2 strength, Series 5, 6K token awesome new card with the on reveal. After you play your next card, cast a spell. The spell changes each turn. What are her spells? All right, her spells are become a demon, destroy to draw 2, move it to the right, +2 power, replace the card's location, add a copy of it to your hand, and double Nico's power. All right, Prashaun, what do you think about the best of the Runaways?
This is probably my least favorite card out of all of them. I just don't like the fact that it's so random. It's random, right? As far as the spells each turn, it's not in order.
Changes in your hand at complete random.
Right.
They cycle in order, though, right? I think Glenn said they cycle in order,
No, I don't believe so. I think it's random.
or they don't repeat.
They don't repeat, but it's random which one
Yes.
happens. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't like the randomness of this card. Like, I don't know. You never know what's gonna happen next with it. It's cool for Halloween. Like it goes with the theme. Like I totally understand. But this is probably a card I will least play out of the bunch. What about you, Antero?
I like it. I think I agree. I think so. The only other card that ever changed in your hand was Snow Guard, and it was absolute garbage before they reworked it. And I think she has more options than that. And I think as a one cost on reveal where it will happen, you can sort of predict when it will happen and play around that. Makes her more versatile than that. But I don't know why they keep experimenting with this sort of like changes in your hand stuff. I don't think it works too well. I do like the card. I think it'll be good, and I definitely want to pick it up and play it. But I think it'll be very very situational that she is good, I guess.
I mean, they literally don't have the
Nope.
technology, right? They've said that to make choices. Like, it's not literally built into the engine. So, like, they don't.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
so
yeah,
that's why they keep doing
think
this design space, because they literally can't, like, give you 3 choices and make you pick one.
yeah, and I don't think they should do. I'm not saying that's how it should work. I'm just saying, I don't know, 7 choices. It changes in your hand. There's only 6 turns. You might be like hoping you see one and you don't see it the whole game. Um, uh, I think one space that they need to experiment more with is having both a on reveal and an ongoing, or something like Ebony Maw, where it does something but also has an ability. Um, I think that would be better than cards like this, where it just randomly cycles through stuff. Um, I don't know. I think it's just so situational. But I think this is a lot better than old Snow Guard, and I do think that this card will be good. But in terms of mechanics, I wish they would stop trying to do this.
So, enough people think this is good that I think I might be wrong. But I don't think this is good. This could have a home. Could, not necessarily will. Could have a home in Bounce. Like, if I don't have to run Luke in that spot, this could replace Wasp, right? If I'm getting a couple versions of this is probably decent. But like, I don't want some of these abilities. Is the
Well,
problem?
my thing, does it become a demon and then it gets +2 power once it's a demon? That would be pretty cool.
I mean, it's only going to do one
I
or the
think
other.
She locks.
once it casts the spell, I think it's like that's what it does
Right,
now.
so
Right?
it's done.
she
It's only one
locks.
spell.
At what point does she
Yeah.
lock? She locks when you play
When she's
her,
played.
right?
Mhm.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So theoretically, you play her and then you don't play anything for like 2 turns. She's still only going to do that. What happened when you played her? What her text was when you played her?
Correct.
Okay. So, and I assume the way everything else works in Marvel Snap, for her to be really good in a bounce deck, you have to hit one of the awesome ones, like +2 power or replace the card's location,
So
right? Because
The-
otherwise, or double the
There's
power.
there's only 2 bad ones, right? Destroy to draw 2 is probably bad. Although, I mean, God knows
Is it?
how that works with Mysterio.
Is it
I
bad?
think that's good.
I think
I mean, it's
usually
bad in the specific situation you were just talking about, but like generically, you play her on 1, draw 2, you play your 2-drop on 2, and you draw 2 cards.
you play her on 1. Depends
Mhm.
what your 2-drop is, right? Your 2-drop is freaking likely in a bounce deck
Well,
to be
but
Elsa or Angela.
do you destroy Nico or do you destroy the card you
Then-
play?
Destroy the next card you play.
Okay.
Whatever happens to the next card you play, or with the next card you play, with the exception
Okay.
of 7, which is double Nico's power.
Okay.
Which means if you can get that twice, which you can, it would be great. But it's a
Oh.
lot of work for a 1/4.
Gotcha.
So like the card you play next becomes a demon. So like if you follow her up by like Hood goes in a deck with her almost certainly, right? Because Hood becomes demon, get demon, become demon is good. Hood destroys to draw 2 is good. But like Hood plus 2 power is now shitty. Hood moves right is now shitty. Hood, that Scarlet Witch, great, thanks. Hood, and now I have another Hood. Like cut that shit out, right? Like there's it's
Too
gonna be
much.
hard. It's gonna be hard. Maybe someone more big brain than I am will make it work, but I'm worried. It's cool. I'm gonna play it.
I think the good ones are so good that's what people are seeing in her.
What's so good though?
Give something. I think give something 2 power is really underrated. That's like
Just run forge, man.
that could get out of
Just run
hand. I
forge.
think I think playing it in a destroy deck and then you destroy something, that would be cool. Maybe you pair it with Nimrod or something like that. You get 2 Nimrods like right off the bat. I do see her utility, but there's so many choices, and you have to hope that you see what you're hoping for. And like you said, Glazer, some of them are just like in certain decks they're just like useless or right out bad. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be very situational for her.
She's cool though.
Yeah, very cool
I
card.
think she has some cool variants.
I mean, because the character's fucking awesome. So like,
Correct.
yeah, like Nico is great.
I think her greatest strength is that she costs 1.
Yeah.
And you can probably weave her.
Her greatest strength is that the character is awesome.
Her second greatest strength is
There
that
you
she
go.
costs 1, and you can weave her into turns pretty naturally. Unfortunately, you have to be ready to weave her into the turn that you see the thing that you want, or you see the thing that you've been waiting for. So it's going to be a challenge.
0/0. Change 7 to anything else. For real. It's a really good card all of a sudden, right?
Is it? Okay.
I think it's a 0/0. It's great.
Yeah. I think any card as a 0/0 would be great.
I mean, look
Fair
how
enough.
good the Thor's card is. So
Yeah.
he produces.
All right.
So all right, let's
Let's-
move on to the. Is this the last one? Werewolf by Night.
This is the last one.
card?
Mhm.
Yep. Werewolf by
This is my
Night.
favorite.
The big ticket man himself. Watch his special on Disney Plus. He's a 3 for 3, 5 Series 5 6K tokens. Just throws me off every time. 5 Series 5 6K tokens. Anyway,
Mhm.
after you play
Nice.
an on reveal card at another location, move there and gain +2 power. And this triggers anytime you play an on reveal at a different location, correct? All right. So, Prashaun, what do you think, my friend?
As long as it can move.
As long as
It has
can-
to move
yes.
to gain the power.
I think Silky Smooth just got like more powerful with this card, like for sure. And I think we're talking about those like miniature combos. I feel like this is one of those combos where you don't have to play a whole move package. You can just play cards around it, and this card is gonna be filthy. Like, well, if you get it down on 3. And I'm thinking maybe you could put a Hulkbuster on it, and since a Hulkbuster is on reveal, and it gains 2 power after that, like
No, won't move. Has to
it
move.
won't move
No.
It moves to the location that you play that card.
after you play
So-
on reveal. Another location. Oh, that sucks. All right,
And nothing happens before on reveals. On reveals are instantaneous.
that
So
sucks.
the on reveal will resolve, and then this will move.
So I was thinking All right, that reverses my thinking. All right, it's still a good card, but I think with like the whole like silky smooth type of archetype, I think this fits in there a little bit. And I think you could probably replace some of the cards that are in there with some on reveal cards. And maybe you could probably still play a Hulkbuster somewhere, especially if you're playing Kitty Pride, if you're playing Kitty Pride in there. So I think this is a solid card. It might be the second best card this season, I think. Especially since like in the little promo teaser they saved it for last. So maybe they think it might be a problem in Marvel Snap. I don't know. I'm gonna get it. I'm probably gonna play around with it a lot more than any other card. Man Thing is still my favorite because I like affliction and damaging and junk and all that kind of stuff. Just because I like to make opponents angry. But I think this card just jumping around everywhere, getting +2 power, is definitely awesome. What do you think, Intero?
Yeah, this is my favorite card of the set. I love it. I'm a big move guy. Even before Silky Smooth hit the scene, I really liked move. But I've been playing the Craven Wave Arrow package ever since, and I think this fits naturally into that. I can't wait to play around with it. I hope it finds a permanent home in it. It's definitely my favorite card coming out.
Wait, I just had a thought. What if you you were losing a location, and you played like Arrow? You moved that card to that location, and the Werewolf moves to that location too, then gets +2.
Yeah, powerful.
That is
big swing in
wild.
that location.
So, I mean, look, I'm just putting this Surfer. I'm not even messing with the move deck. I just want a 3 that's going to be like a 12 in Surfer. It's going to win
Oh
melee.
yeah, any 3 gets thrown in the Surfer deck.
Yeah, but like this in particular, right? Like, because if I get this down on 3, right? Let's pretend for a minute that Mobius doesn't exist just because fuck that card real hard. But like, so I get this down on 3, and then I play Brood. Oh no, I filled the Brood Blade, but now it's a 5. And then I play Sarah, and now I didn't do it. But now I spend my last turn going, I don't know, Maximus Spider-Man Surfer. 3-5, 3-7, 3-9, 3-11, 3-13. That's 3. That is 15 power in that Surfer lane, just with Werewolf by Night and Surfer, because obviously you're playing Surfer last, right? And that's likely enough to at least compete in the lane because you're choosing where to do that. And then you've got all the other Surfer shit to win another lane.
Just have to worry about space.
And I think the what was that?
You just have to worry about space when you're doing all that. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. I was going to say being able to fill a lane and then move Werewolf out without any real utility card or anything like that. All you have to do is play an on reveal and he pops out. I think that's so awesome. I think that's his greatest strength.
So like, let's say I play only get him on the last turn. He's still a 3-7. He's Maximus.
Yeah.
Right? Like, his downside is a great card.
And he doesn't give your opponent draw.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Like, he's got value. He's a value card. He's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's cool design.
There's going to be...
Yeah, he's my favorite card.
There's going to be games he loses for you. 2 different ways. 1, he's going to fill lanes and not get the Elsa buff, which is going to suck. And 2, there's going to be times where you really don't want him to move into that lane where you have to play Surfer, and he's going to move there when you don't want him to. So he's going to require play. He's going to be a high skill card.
I think what you said before, and we've been seeing that with both the new Spider-Man and with Silk, that you can sort of manipulate it, right? So if you you don't want him to go there and you plan ahead and you can really sort of use your foresight on that, you can fill the lane you don't want him to hop into, and then you don't got to worry about him, either moving or hopping in the wrong lane. And I think that's one of the greatest strengths of the move archetype now is the really good players know how to manipulate where Silk is going to jump, or plan ahead to make sure that they're playing to their outs or something like that. So I think that's where he naturally flows into.
I'm reasonably excited to see how he interacts with a Cosmode lane, because when you play an on reveal, not when the on reveal resolves. So he should
True.
move into that. Like if you Maximus that Cosmo lane, he should just jump over there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right.
Any final werewolf thoughts? Nope.
No, he's
We're-
awesome.
yeah,
I love him.
At
Just
risk
wait
of
to
turning
see
into werewolves
second one.
ourselves this night. So let's talk real quick about the November release schedule. We talked about this last episode. We've got Miss Marvel, we've got Gladiator, we've got Annihilus. All right, Annihilus and Martyr, everybody's favorite character that just gonna push so many spotlight caches. Martyr, definitely. Oh, Glazer's going to sit here and defend Martyr. So go ahead, Glazer.
I am, but I'm also going to note that Martyr it's not appearing on screen for anyone watching Marvel Snap Zone. Martyr has been readjusted to a 1-4 and Gladiator to a 3-7.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
As of data mines.
So, guests, friends, for the upcoming The Marvel season, any sort of thoughts about these cards next month? Give us sort of your hot takes about what you expect to see out of the next month.
I personally like Gladiator the most. The fact that you could take something out of their deck, and if it has less power, destroy it. That's gonna be crazy, especially with like Forge. You could probably play Forge then Gladiator, and then hopefully you take out whatever they have, or you could play Shuri Gladiator and see what happens. Like I think that's a pretty decent card. Miss Marvel, I still have no clue how that's gonna work. I'm still confused on it to see how it goes. And then of course we talked about Annihilus. I think Annihilus is gonna be pretty awesome. And then Martyr is confusing. I know a lot of people have talked about like the whole Martyr Viper type of deal, trying to give it to their opponent and see what it does. But I think if you fill up a lane or you fill up enough lanes, then I think Martyr would be fine wherever she's at, right? So I think it's these cards are good or decent. We'll see once it gets closer, because I know like once we talk about cards, we hype them up or we're low on them, and then as soon as we actually get to play them, then our minds totally change and we never thought how they interacted with other cards the way they do. So I don't know. I'm really high on Gladiator, just looking at what it says, and that's pretty much it. What about you, Antero?
Yeah, I think Gladiator is probably the one I'm most excited for. What did you say his new Dynamite stat line was? The
Hello?
7? Was he a 7?
He's a 7, yeah.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, I think that's still pretty high, and to drop that on 3, unless you're a lot of decks only run 1 or 2, finishers, right? So you're most likely gonna destroy it, whatever you pull. So Gladiator is gonna be real good. Miss Marvel, I think she's gonna need so much build around to make work. I don't really get it. Annihilus, I think it's gonna be cool, but again, I think a lot of decks just won't mind too much about getting the junk, or they're going to fill the lane quick enough where they don't mind. And then Martyr, my favorite stuff is this, what we were just talking about before with the manipulation, right? Where if you fill your lanes, like Prashaun was saying, then Martyr has nowhere to go to lose you the game, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think I'm most excited for the Gladiator card, and then probably Martyr second. Miss Marvel and Annihilus. I'll have to use the community as the guinea pigs to see if I want.
Right, I
them.
think Gladiator is the most straightforward card out of the bunch. The rest are
Yeah, and to my Hearthstone point before, something like Dirty Rat. There's a card called Dirty Rat where he yanks something out of their hand, and unlike Marvel Snap, the abilities, when you yank something out of their hand, the abilities don't go off. So a lot of people use Dirty Rat to like disrupt. or to ruin their their combos or their finishers, stuff like that. So it'll be interesting for Martyr. Do we know if when Gladiator pulls the card, if it goes off, like if it's an
It
on
does,
reveal,
yeah.
will it
We
activate?
talked about this last
Oh, it
week. Yeah,
does.
it does go off, so they get that advantage,
So
right?
that's interesting.
So
wow.
Yeah, so at least if it happens to you, at least
True.
something good might come of it. But after that all resolves, your card is most likely going to be destroyed. So I like that aspect of it.
all right, so we are in on a big patch, folks. So what do we want to sort of hit? There is the nerfs, the buffs, which we'll talk about those in a second, but sort of just general patch thoughts. What do we think of the card quality preview, the rare and super rare avatars, the new refresh time, this controversial event? Is there something we would like to see with the patch? What Prashaun, what do you think about what's coming down the pike for us with the patch?
To be honest, the only thing I really cared about this patch was the blob. When I saw that card, I was like, what is this? So he basically combines the total power from all the cards that you have in your deck, which seems pretty insane, and he's ongoing. I really didn't see his. I forgot what his cost was, but the
The
fact that
6.
what was he, a 6?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. That's pretty crazy that that's in the game. Like the fact that that's in the game is pretty wild.
Did you see the Sakara meme?
No. What was it?
Sakara turned the first location reveals it's Sakara, and Sakara's like rubbing his hands together. He's gonna pull your blob and ruin your whole game.
Just
I hope that
imagine
happens
like
to a lot of people.
a ramp deck, and then you play Blob, and then
Yeah.
you play Mystique after. Like that's insane. Like that's what I got from it. But I'm a huge X-Men fan, so seeing like Sebastian Shaw and the Hellfire Gala
Yeah.
stuff is pretty awesome to see. And then what is crazy, I don't know if like people are deep in the comic books, but there's a Ghost Rider Hellfire Gala variant,
Mhm.
and Ghost Rider was not at the Hellfire Gala, so I don't know why that's a card. So
Because Marvel did a bunch of like random designs of people.
It's a what if.
Yeah, they did do that though. They did like, what if this person was at the Hellfire
gotcha.
Gala?
Okay, I was
So
gonna say
that's
because
what it
like
is.
Ghost Rider was with Wolverine doing stuff, like whatever. But that's pretty cool.
Nerd.
Yeah. I'm deep in the comics. Like I have
We're all
boxes of
pro. We're
I-
all pro comics fans here in this podcast.
So I was like, oh, okay. But like, it's cool to go with the like Hellfire Gala in December. Like, I'm reading all the Fall of X stuff, so I'm definitely gonna buy everything I can for Hellfire Gala. So I thought that was pretty cool. What do I want to see? I want to see more a different like I don't know, like what is it called? Like where it's like free play, where it's not necessarily ranked, where you're just playing to test decks. Because I feel like when I go into Conquest, I'm playing against the same deck over and over and over. So I really don't get the feel of what my deck can do against different archetypes without wasting 20 minutes of my time. And then when I play on ladder, I'm so concerned. Like I want to get my snap points. I don't want to lose just playing around. So like that's what happened to me before. I would hit infinite right away. I would go to like 110 because I'm trying, and I'm like, whatever, I want to test out decks. So I lose a bunch of games, I'll go back to 100. But I feel like I'm not a tryhard anymore if I'm at like 10,000 at my snap level. So I just want to place a safe like snap space where you could just play the game freely with no consequences. That's what I want from Marvel Snap. What about you, Antero?
Just to your last point, I was a big before the change. I was a big cube donator when I hit infinite.
Yeah.
I loved finding like a rank 99 guy and just like letting them take it. But then they made it so we can only play each other, and I was very sad about that. What I like about this patch, I'll do a good and a bad sandwich here. What I like about it is I feel like this is the first patch where we got like a bunch of quality of life stuff all at once. Um, the counterpoint to that is I feel like Second Dinner has been so bogged down in economy stuff and revamping stuff that it's kind of weird that we're just getting some quality of life stuff now. The quality, the card quality preview, you know, it might seem small, but a lot of people really care about what a card looks like before they buy it. So that's awesome to have. Um, the new refresh time is awesome. So just allowing the team to focus on that part of the game is really valuable. I think it really shows that things can change and things can become fresh again, and it's not always just like what type of spotlight cash system are we going to get this month. So I really like that about the patch. What I don't like about the patch is the rare and super rare avatars. I don't want them. I don't want them clogging up my already worthless collector's reserves. Get them out. Stop. Somebody get Steven on the phone and tell him I don't want this stuff. Change the boxes, put some good stuff in there, give us our gold back, and stop putting avatars in there. I don't want them. The year event, it shouldn't be offensive. It's just a bonus. It's like, hey, if you're spending, it's kind of like the new variant thing where if you buy a bunch of variants, you get one free. Unfortunately, they wrapped it up in a anniversary, ribbon and box, and that I feel like that's why everyone's upset about it. What should be a celebration of everyone loves Marvel Snap. I love Marvel Snap. You guys love Marvel Snap. We want to celebrate the anniversary of it, and instead we got a celebversary where they're just selling us stuff, and I also don't like that. It shouldn't be offensive. It's just a bonus, like, hey, if you're already spending money, you're going to get this stuff too. And it's all cosmetic stuff, right? So like who it doesn't affect you. But I think because of how they packaged it up, it's rubbing some people the wrong way. And that should be obvious, and it's through the Newverse site. So I don't know how much flack Second Dinner deserves. I think it might be a Newverse event, and Second Dinner might be taking the heat on this. I don't know for sure. I might be just making that up. But I think the fact that it's through the Newverse store is kind of telling to me that maybe Second Dinner didn't have as much of a hand in this as everyone thinks they did. But again, I don't know for sure. What I want to see is a lot more of this quality of life stuff happen on a daily basis. I don't want to know about, what economy we're getting next. I don't want to know about series drops not happening again. I don't want to know about what useless crap they're putting in my collector's reserves. I just want them to say like, hey, we noticed that this part of the menus are slow or this part of the game isn't fun, so we changed it. And now you guys should have a much more fun time in the app or in the game. And that's what I want to see.
Anything you want to add there, Aaron?
I want Mobius to be a 3/3. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that too. Put that on my list too.
Well,
So-
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you want to talk about Mobius, then we can just slide real back here to talk about the nerfs and the buffs. All right, we've got Mojo, got a clarity update. The Watcher got his strength reduced and his text reworked. That now only shows you the right location, but always at the start of the game. Mantis got her energy cost raised, but her base strength increased. Cable is now a 3/4, and Maria Hill is now only 1 cost and only 2 strength, but she always gives you a random 2 cost card. All right, Aaron, you want to whine about Mobius? That's what's actually in the patch.
So, patch is cool. I actually like literally every change. I don't think Mantis matters, but like outside of that, I think all these cards are cool. I think that these are good changes. I just think that like because they can only change cards in a big way on patches, this feels small and underwhelming.
Yep.
So like every single change is good. Every single one. But when you can only do this once a month in a big way, like Cable and Mantis are both OTA level changes, right? I want something that makes a splash on the meta. But like none of that matters. I think Mobius should be a 3, and I think that it's a balance card. I think that means you can't play it on 5 with wave and do the avoid counter thing. And I think that like now, like it's got risk to it, and it's fairly balanced. Like 3s are hard to fit on curve. 2s are very easy to fit into your curve, and 3s are always difficult to fit. And I think it's still one of the best cards in the game. But I think it's just generally speaking more balanced that way.
Go ahead.
You want to talk, Prashaun?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty decent patch. It makes sense. Like Mojo, whenever you play it in Space Throne, it should get +6 power because it's the only card there. So that definitely makes sense. A Watu is weird because that's a card you don't play unless you're in the early pools. Like I don't know. You probably have to take the dust off my Watu. I haven't played it in so long where I don't even care. Like, fine, you did whatever you did to the card. I'm still not gonna play it because it's not gonna matter. And then the Mantis, Cable, Maria Hill. It just seems like they tried to attack Loki without really fixing Loki. They just tried to change the curve of that deck a little bit without actually fixing the actual problem, which I think is like the Loki interaction with reducing the cost of the cards and the whole Quinjet thing. I think that should be addressed besides the cards around it, which I feel Second Dinner is doing. Like we talked about before, they just do the cards around the card that has the problem instead of the actual card. But besides that, it's a decent patch. It's cards I wouldn't have never thought needed it, but I guess they have the data to do it. I guess so. I don't know. To me, it's okay. It's not amazing. What about you, Intero?
Yeah, I think everything's fine. I like the Mojo, clarification. Uatu finally, gets changed after being useless since the game launched. Not, he's not fantastic, but he's a little better, I guess. I think what kind of sucks is it comes off, it piggybacks off of, I think it was Glenn. He commented like, this is the first of a bunch of big changes happening in the upcoming patch. When they were talking about the OTA changes, and now we see that these are the big changes he was talking about, and I don't get it. Maybe there's more big changes on the way. I don't know. I don't I don't really like the Cable change. I don't think he's worth using anymore as a 3. There's just so many better 3s.
It's okay in Loki.
It's all right. I think it's just too expensive. I do like the Mojo rewording. I like the Uatu change. I think he may need a little more juice. I'm not sure. But I also don't. I don't really know. I understand. I think the Maria Hill change makes her feel like an introductory pool 1 card now, rather than um, a pool 3 card. I think it's sort of here's a 1 drop, and if you don't have a 2 drop, she gives you 1, kind of like training wheel kind of card.
It's like you rather play Agent 13.
I was just gonna say I don't see many situations where I would play her over Agent 13.
Loki deck. I would almost certainly play her over 13. Loki or bounce.
True.
Right? Like,
Again, I think I'd rather
situations.
play Agent 13.
I don't think so.
I think I'd rather have a random higher cost card than a 2.
Nah, sometimes you miss on the stuff you want to play on 2. And
sure,
like there's
you miss on everything, but
sure. But like if you see Maria Hill, right? Like there's just like the 2/2s on 4 and the 1/2 curve, right, are both very, very powerful things. Like there's just not bad 2s in Marvel Snap. Like there's like, unless I'm forgetting something, but there's like not 2s that you're not really happy with, while as like there's a million of other things. I'm literally pulling up my game right now to double check 2 cost cards. But like in my head at least, yeah, it's like I guess Adam Warlock and like all right, there's a couple Adam Warlock, Morbius, Bucky,
If she
but like
said, if Maria Hill said add a random collector to your hand, then I would run her over Agent 13.
sure, but like look, Silk, Lizard, Mysterio, Colleen, Cloak, Viper, Swarm, Shocker. Like I'm happy with any of these cards. Shadow King, Sentinel. Like it's just I'm happy with any of these cards.
Yeah,
Like this just and
not bad.
yeah, like and then like the high rolls are off the charts, right? Like the high rolls of like you got a Mobius, you got an Elsa, you got a Luke, you got a Craven are just nuts. You got a collector. Like
Yeah,
I think she's good.
yeah, no, I think I think it's a good change. I think it does feel like in a new like a introductory card now. I think it's like it serves a purpose of teaching someone how to play the game. So I don't know. I feel like it would be cool if they, you know, Maria Hill was the first card they bumped down a pool, you know, and they gave it to players to like learn how to fill out a curve or something like that. But you know, they won't do that.
Well, something's going to happen. They're not going to keep Series 3. We talk about this every week. But, like, I'm convinced they're not going to keep Series 3 the way it is forever. Like, Series 3 will change.
Hopefully, we get series drops for that.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold my breath. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, all I'm going to say is we're going to take a quick look at the meta. So I'm going to start with you, Intro. Give us what are the decks that matter the most right now, your sort of short TLDR of what decks sort of you think matter the most, and can you identify any sleepers? So sort of give our listeners sort of like if they're now they're sticking their toes in to the meta, what are some sort of quick hits that they should keep in mind, and if they any sleeper decks?
I think the best deck right now is Sauron. I think I think that deck doesn't have many counters now that Galactus is dead and now that Loki is weaker. I think the only thing holding him back was High Evolutionary and the other counters to Loki. And now that Loki is less prevalent, Sauron's just going to rise to the top. I think the Elsa deck is really really good. I think High Evolutionary is good. I think, like I said before, I think we're not seeing a lot of High Evolutionary right now because those top tier players are experimenting with Elsa right now, so his popularity probably dipped a bit. And I think the sleeper is still the Move deck. I think everyone thinks Move dropped out when Mobius stopped the wave shenanigans, but I still think that they need to have Mobius, right? So you can still potentially pull off the wave stuff, but at the same time, even if they have Mobius, you don't necessarily need that. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. They're teching in Alaya. You know, I feel like decks now, when you break their combo or you stop them from doing what normally they pop off doing, they just throw Eliathan, and now that's their backup plan. So I think the Move deck just throws Eliathan now, and now it has a backup finisher to Arrow or to Silk shenanigans and stuff like that. So those are my three decks right now that I've been playing.
All right, how about you, Prashaun?
I've seen the decks I've seen a lot lately is probably the Broods. Pretty much Brood Surfer Patriot. I see that a lot. Of course, no one's stopping Shuri right now. That is top tier. High Evo took I guess like a peg down since Mobius has came out. I can no longer play Wave on 5 and then just play whatever on turn 6 and expect to win anymore. I can't do that. What I feel might be a sleeper is Control. I think Control is untapped. I think with Elsa running Rapid and Loki running Rapid, I think a good Control deck can stop all that. And I think when it comes to what's going on, someone just needs to make a good counter deck to whatever's going on. But everyone, of course, you don't want to waste your money, right? You want to play the card that you just bought. You want to get your value. You don't want to go the opposite way. But I think that's what's missing is a good counter deck for this upcoming season, even though it's like 2 days in.
Glazer?
Okay. Shuri, the move Alioth, I think is the best Alioth, and Elsa, I think are the top 3 decks right now. I'm willing to like hear arguments about other Alioth decks. I think Sandman might have a resurgence, but Sandman dies so badly to Shuri, I'm not sure it can actually be good. So like, I think it's just really those 3. The Patriot decks are close. The Patriot Broodme decks are still really good. But like, I think that those are the big 3.
Yeah, I think the Patriot deck might actually be stronger than Sauron, but in my own personal climb, there's been so many times where they fill 2 lanes and they need to put their Patriot or their Surfer in a specific lane, and I just know where it's going to be, so I Goliath it, and I have priority because I have a 28 power Red Skull, and then they lose, and that's it, and I win a lane with 5 power in it because they didn't play anything there, and I just dropped Goliath on it.
Yep, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
It's a very good deck. I don't think it like the move deck is just better, right? Like I think my general feeling is that the move versions, whether they run Crossbones or not, I think I like the new non-Crossbonesy versions better, but whatever. That'll remain to be seen. I think that is probably my pick for the best deck right now. And then I think Red Skull and Elsa are fighting for second. And Elsa, like, I think is probably better, but we don't have the right build yet.
And sorry, Glazer, you were talking about Mobius before, and I never responded. I just want to slip in really quick. I mean, nobody needs to address it, but I hate Mobius, and I think he should be deleted, and I think he's the worst card for the health of the game. Take it away.
I just think at 3 he's probably fine. Like,
I
think
don't like
that
what he does to what Marvel Snap is supposed to be, and I also really resent them for breaking negative.
Oh yeah,
that's fair. It completely breaks negative.
That's
So like
immediate
the
retreat.
fix, yeah, the fix is easy. They could just make negative work properly, right?
Yep.
Like
Negative
it's
should set cost and power. Yeah.
like I think that like eventually they do that, but I don't
Jeez.
know. That's the only problem. Like I think that like outside of that, it's mostly just a fair counter card. I don't love how high variance games where one player sees Mobius and the other doesn't feel. That's why I want him to be 3. I feel like if he's 3, he only goes in decks where he really belongs, not just in every deck.
All right, let's move into our final segment for this evening, which is the variant of the week. All right, this is the first time in many weeks we've had 4 different variants. All right, who picked baby-faced Cable?
Me. I love Gun Cable.
All right, tell us, why'd you pick baby-faced Cable over here?
I think the art on this is stellar. I think there's motion to it. I think there's color to it. I think the action, the pose is cool. I think this looks like an ultimate variant. I think the actual ultimate variant of Cable sucks, and it should be this one.
Completely fair. All right, who did steampunk Cable?
I am Future Cable, although I use Young Cable. I have like 4 cables for some reason. Just keep opening them. Apparently, as I was literally copying and pasting this, it updated. I don't think I realized that until now. Marvel Snap Zone updated literally in the middle of updating it. See the first, those of you who can see this, the first 2 cables are 2 2s, and the next 2 are 3 4s. So, oops. I mean, whatever. Okay. So
all we care about is the art.
Yeah. Cable should have a beard. Is basically my entire argument here. He should be old and grumpy and have a beard. And this one has a beard. It's not released, but it's steampunk, and I will buy this immediately.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never seen this one.
Yeah, it's not out yet. I really like, in fairness, all 4 of the Cables we picked. I think they're all really good. Cable's also a character, like, I don't like Venom and Carnage, like 90s-y characters tend to annoy me. I don't like that kind of edgy, but I love Cable. Cable's had a lot of really good comic runs.
It's also had a lot of really bad comic runs. All right. I believe this is Rob Liefeld, right? Is this Rob Liefeld?
Who hasn't? Yes, but who? No, this isn't Rob Liefeld.
No.
Or is this Jim Lee? Who's the third one?
No. It's not Jim Lee. It looks like a Jim Lee. That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
Because
who's the artist? It looks like either Lee or Leafield. So
It's not though. I'll pull it up while you guys talk about it. Go ahead.
I
All
know
right.
I know
Why'd
it's
you
not a
pick it,
Jim
Prashaun?
Lee. I wish it was a Jim Lee, because Jim Lee's like one of my favorite artists, especially like '90s, '80s gritty comics, like with the like when he took over the X-Men and stuff. I actually have a signed Jim Lee, but
Nice.
that's why I picked it. Like any Jim Lee
Uh,
variant that I see in the shop, I automatically get. I missed out on the White Queen that came out a few days ago, but I'll
it
come
is
back and get it.
it is Greg Capullo. So
Oh, that's early Greg Capullo. Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually make like that image make sense. So unlike modern Greg Capullo
Yeah, so
art.
that,
Anyway,
that's why I picked it.
and I picked this cable because it's Dan Hip. Who doesn't love Dan Hip? I would have all Dan Hip decks if I had that many Dan Hip variants. All right, so Glazer, we are into the final segment here. So, intro, why don't you tell us if our loyal listeners and loyal viewers to become your loyal listeners and loyal viewers, where should they find you? What would they find if they followed you on Twitter and Twitch?
I welcome your viewers to join the Interrobang. I'm streaming. I stream every day. I haven't missed a day since starting. I'm big on Twitter. I love Twitter. I love answering everyone. I love interacting with everyone. So if you have a favorite streamer or a favorite Marvel Snap content creator and they just won't interact with you or they won't answer you, that won't be me, baby. I will answer you. I will answer every single tweet that you send to me. I'm on Twitter 24/7, like it's my job. I love talking to you guys, and I love the support that the community has given me. You know, I'm just this little dude who loves Marvel Snap, and somehow I have been embraced by the community enough to join the creator program, to swing with the heavy hitters like you guys, and I just can't be more appreciative of everything. So visit me on Twitter and Interrobang with an E on the end. Twitch, Interrobang with an E on the end, and you're going to have a lot of fun, and I'll make sure of it.
All right, Glazer.
When I first started interacting with Interrobang, I thought he was overly negative. I'm not gonna lie, I did. I thought he was like there's like 6 or 7 creators who will like bluntly never be on this podcast because they seem to hate the game. And it took me almost no time to realize that for Interrobang it was the exact opposite. He is extraordinarily, and you got some of it this episode, but like extraordinarily energetically passionate about this game and thinks deeply about everything that's happening in it and cares about, more than anything else, the well-being of its player base, and like just wants what's best for it and will talk about that and think about that and argue about that long past any and all like reason being there for it, right? Like it is genuine just love. And if you love
attrition you out of the conversation.
no like because you don't, right? Like because like when I first like really noticed who you were fighting with Lauren about things, and like it was like at first I was just like, oh, he's just a squeaky wheel, and like as I read the conversation, like no, he just disagrees and he's making good points, and like it's valid, right? Like we don't all have to agree on it's a stupid card game, but like the passion and respect, and it was love. It's like there's no way to put it except love. And if you if you love Marvel Snap as much as he does, not to steal too much from Bootman, then you need to be following Turbo.
And the big twist of it all is that Lauren is one of my best Twitter friends, and we DM all the time. So yeah, Lauren's the best.
Lauren's great. Former guest of the show. You should definitely go check out Lauren's content as well. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate all those words, Glazer. I really strive to be everything that you just said about me. So I'm glad that somebody sees it.
You're succeeding.
All right. Prashaun, why don't you tell our loyal listeners and loyal viewers, if they became your loyal listeners and loyal viewers, what would they find on your YouTube? What would they find on your Twitch? What would they get from engaging with you?
I'm just a dude that plays Snap, like man of the people. I try to be. I'm just like everyone else. It's just that I win, right? I just win more than than other people do. So it's basically me testing out decks, me finding creativity within the game. Yes, I play meta decks. Yes, I play off meta decks. I think there's a balance for both. I don't know, like this community is so tight knit and we all support each other, which is amazing because it feels like I came out of nowhere. Like I watched like you Glazer, I watched like Hoagland, I watched all these people and I was like, gosh, like I need to do this too. Like I legit looked at my stats and I probably top 20 in the amount of games played in the entire Marvel Snap. So I was like, let me get into this. Like, let me try to take a little piece of the pie here, even though it's like 0.0% of it. But it's basically that. Like, chill, playing Snap, win, lose, draw. Like, let's hang out. Let's be a community. Let me help you. You help me. Like, all that kind of good stuff. So, YouTube, I played meta decks. I play off meta, and Twitch. I'm just hanging out, chilling, playing. I probably lose more on Twitch because I'm not paying attention because I'm too busy talking to everyone, picking what music to play. Like, there's too much going on when you're on Twitch compared to when you're by yourself in the zone on your phone. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Just chill guy that likes Snap.
I mean, it's my favorite Twitch channel to hang out in right now. And just so you know, the vibe you're looking at is Super Tech God, Robitussin, who else? Like
Oh,
that kind of like just like we all sit back, chill, watch Snap, and have a great time and talk shit with each other, and everyone's laughing and having fun. It's watching certain streamers, and Prashaun is like literally. I think I've been in every night for like the past like 5 or 6, right? Like that you've streamed. And even if I'm just stopping in, like I'm making it a point to stop in because it's great. It's genuinely great stuff. It's like stopping in to hang out with friends every night. And like a lot of us are busy adults. A lot of us don't have time to be like, I'm gonna go out with my friends tonight, right? Like I just don't. I got work, I got the kid, but if I want to hang out with my friends, I know I can just go into Prashawn's stream and be like, hey, how you doing tonight? And like we're gonna talk about Snap, we're gonna make great plays, we're gonna make dumb plays. And he is a great player. I've watched enough to know that. But like, yeah, I don't understand how certain players are that good on stream. Because like the sheer multitasking that takes is bonkers
oh yeah,
to me.
for sure.
But if you want to have a good time and hang out with friends, you will immediately like feel like family there. So make sure you check him out. Check out his YouTube too. I'm just in love with the Twitch stream right now.
Thank
So,
you, thank you. Yeah, especially after SnapCon. Like,
yeah.
SnapCon was so amazing. Everyone was so welcoming. Everyone was so chill. Like, I wish it was every weekend. Like, I wish SnapCon was every weekend. So that definitely gave me the push I needed, and like Snap content in general.
You're so right about harder to play while streaming. I find myself letting chat make the plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like in it, like I'm just like, what would you guys do? Like I don't even realize that I'm letting them misplay for me. And then like yesterday, I think I streamed for like 4 hours yesterday, and it took me 4 hours to get to 80, and then I played off stream today and hit infinite. And I'm just like, oh, I guess it isn't. I was like, why is climbing so hard right now? And then I just hit infinite, like not on stream.
It's like I swear I'm good, guys.
Yeah. I'm like, what would you guys do? And they're like, Giganto mid. And I'm like, all right, let's fucking do it.
Oh, Twitch stream's not very good, but they're very nice. And at least they're not the Facebook group.
Oh yeah.
All right,
And Reddit's
we've
bad. Reddit's a dark place.
lost the thread when people are talking about Twitch chat being good. So let me just quickly remind folks of where you can engage with us. We are on Twitter/X at SnapJudgeCast. We're on the Marvel Snap Zone Discord, which you can join in the description of this episode on YouTube or your friendly neighborhood podcatcher. Our email is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We're on Mastodon at snapjudgments with an E at tabletop.vip. And most importantly, we are on our YouTube channel at Snap Judgments Pod. I want to thank our guests for being with us. Prashaun, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Cool. Interrobang, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome. And as always, Glazer, thank you for doing this episode each and every week with me.
Peace and love, friends.
All right, friends. We are at the end of yet another episode, so please, we will see you next week. And until then, make good choices, stay safe, and keep on snapping.